Good evening, everyone. Uh, Thanks to all of you for coming and attending the PMS Bazaar annual event. Just like every year, I see a lot of people, of course, many of them outside, but a huge crowd. And that's kudos to Mr. Pallav Rajan and his team for organizing a wonderful annual event. Thanks to Mr. Pawan Shah for agreeing to participate at the last minute. Mr. Sandeep could not join us, and he's online with us from Gujarat. Thank you, 𝐻𝐭, for coming all the way and agreeing to speak with us. The resumes are there, so I will not spend much time on that. I will not spend much time talking about GIFT. All of you either know what is GIFT or you have been to GIFT. So I don't have to spend time on that. We have only about 20 minutes. So I want to use this time to probe both of these gentlemen and ask them some questions. But before I do that, I will just take 2 minutes to share my views on GIFT City. Especially when I compare GIFT with some of the offshore jurisdictions like Singapore, Mauritius, Ireland, Luxembourg, I see in many areas GIFT provides us greater advantages. We all talk about GIFT as a tax jurisdiction. It is beyond tax. To start with, the whole onboarding process and the time taken to set up a fund in GIFT is much more smoother and quicker than most of the other fund jurisdictions. And of course, more cost efficient as well. Plus, GIFT provides various advantages to fund managers. For example, no tax for 10 years, a 10-year tax holiday on fees and carry, no tax on the investors. Investors don't have to obtain a PAN or file a return. No tax on any capital gains from offshore securities, GIFT securities, and even Indian securities except capital gains on sale of shares. No STT, CTT, GST, stamp duty, etc. Plus, if you are a manager based there, the Gujarat state government provides various incentives in terms of duty rebates or benefits to employees depending on the size and scale. So GIFT has developed into a wonderful ecosystem. And if you compare with the AIF regime in domestic, GIFT also has various regulatory arbitrages. So for example, there is no leverage restriction when you set up a fund in the GIFT. You can borrow as much as you want subject to investor approval and use that money to invest. So for FNO players, that's a great play to invest in India. There are no concentration norms, so theoretically all investment can go into one company and you can do co-investments easily. So I can go on and on. GIFT does provide a lot of benefits. But with that little bit of a background, I want to start, 𝐻𝐭, with you first, since you are here physically and you'll take the benefit. 𝐻𝐭 is not a Gujarati, right? So he's a Sindhi, but I still like to call him 𝐻𝐭 bhai because he's based in Gandhinagar. So 𝐻𝐭, you work with Sandeep bhai a lot, and when we talk of GIFT, it is synonymous with Sandeep in many ways. He's been pioneer for so many years. Working with him, what has been your experience in terms of the evolution over the last few years? And what are maybe one or two challenges which you have seen as this great transformation has happened?
So before beginning, I would like to congratulate the PMS Bazaar team, and I would like to thank Mr. Pallav Rajan for accommodating our last minute changes and great work by his team. So coming to your question, Rajesh bhai, I have been a part of GIFT City since 2022. So that is the time when the fund management entity regulations were launched by IFSC authority. Before that, the framework and all was governed by Securities and Exchange Board of India. So SEBI had laid down certain guidelines, frameworks for the AIFs that how they'll function in GIFT City. And touchwood, I've got the opportunity to witness the hockey stick growth within the industry in this last 2.5 years. You say it from a regulatory perspective, you say it from an infrastructure perspective, or you say it from an employment perspective as well. All the three pillars which are essential have seen a great trajectorial transformation in this journey of 2.5 years. And talking about the development further, there's a huge scope, there's a huge potential. Now, wherever we go, we don't need to, explain that what Gift City is. Now people are talking about what is the opportunity or what is in it for me as an industry that I can explore in Gift City.
No, absolutely. And I do agree with you. Gift City is not just about funds or even banks. We see an entire ecosystem now with the BATF regulation, banking, bookkeeping, accounting, tax, forensic, treasury companies, finance companies. Next year, we'll see some university being set up, right? So a whole entire aircraft leasing, ship leasing. I mean, there are a lot of things happening in Gift. Crystal ball gazing, maybe not crystal ball, but maybe in the next 12 to 24 months. Do you want to give our audience some insights in terms of what they should expect as some key changes happening for the industry?
So, talking about the development which is taking place at Gift City, right now, when you physically visit Gift City, you will be able to see that there are 22 odd buildings which are operational and functioning. But the beauty is that there are 31 more buildings which are under construction at a simultaneous phase. And witnessing the demand which is coming in terms of players setting up or global investors getting the confidence to invest in India through Gift City. So that has been a tremendous job. That has been a tremendous job done by the support of the regulatory body, by us, by Gift City, and by the industry players. But coming to the outbound perspective as well. So you will see in the coming time, people will also use the Gift City platforms to diversify their portfolios or to diversify the investment opportunities outside India.
The outbound investment, especially family offices and other.
Currently, I would restrict commenting on family offices, but more from a diversification of your portfolio, you'll definitely witness some traction through Gift City.
Right. No, and I think that's a fair point because most of you are experts, but what I hear from the fund management industry is that at least in the immediate or medium term, India is quite pricey, Nifty 21p, mid caps 45, 50, and there is a growing interest to invest in Far East or other locations. So I think that really ties on to what you're saying. Pawan bhai, always a pleasure. It's in India, it's not very common to ask questions to a regulator, but the whole framework and mindset of the Gift City is so welcoming that it's nice to be asking some questions to the regulator here. This is a fire chat, so maybe one or two questions, kind of a little fiery. Of late, we have seen some audits being conducted, visit to premises of FME entities or other entities in Gift by IFSC, and there's a little bit of concern there. Your views on what companies and investors or even fund managers should do to ensure that things are in order and nothing really negative comes out from these audits?
For asking it and open to any of your fiery questions as well. Thank you so much, Mr. Rajesh and PMS Bazaar, to invite me here. And I'm sorry to the audience, I could not be there physically. Nonetheless, let me try to answer it. And before I go there towards the audit, probably looking at the participants, probably this would help to give a context on the ecosystem of fund management industry that has taken place in last 18 months or so, essentially. So it was in 2022, as my colleague Shekhar rightly pointed out, that the regulations came out. And as you would know, everybody would be waiting for others to take the first dip. So first 3 to 6 months, everybody was waiting for others to set up their base in Gift. Slowly, steadily, few people took this initiative. And what we have seen over last 18 to 24 months has been something practically, at least at that point of time, we did not thought of. In a short span of 18 months, we are one of the newest regulator, and we are talking about new financial center as well, right? And everybody will have initial hesitation to start. And still within that short time, we have crossed 130 asset managers. Together, these asset managers have set up more than 180 schemes in IFSC. Again, when I say 180 schemes, it's not towards one or two areas. We have seen angel funds being set up in Gift. We have seen venture capital schemes being set up. We have seen private debt funds, we have seen hedge funds, we have seen funds, long only strategies, we have seen funds investing into specific sectors like real estate and infrastructure. And with the new taxation regime for even retail schemes and ETFs, we have already seen a lot of interest towards that area. We have seen few filings in that area as well, right? So in a short span, as I said, the ecosystem has really grown. And whatever is required for the industry, practically, be it the banking channels, be it the custodian, trustees, fund administrators, all of them, not just the Indian, but the global large players, are also present in GIFT. Now, once you have seen this kind of growth in such a short period of time, all of us in the room would agree the biggest risk that we as a jurisdiction or as a regulator would face would be the reputational risk, right? It's easy to grow, and one or two bad incidents can immediately see the downfall as well. So that is our focus area. We have been very practical. You highlighted some of the regulatory flexibilities. In fact, what I would say is we generally look at outwards. We see the global best practices in various financial centers and have tried to give a lot of flexibilities to the funds which are set up in GIFT. With those flexibilities, definitely comes greater responsibility with the institutions and to the regulator as well. So what we want is good compliance practice out of the entities set up in GIFT. Unfortunately, some of the data which we used to receive as part of the quarterly compliance reports and some of our visits, the results were not very encouraging. It would be little premature if I start sharing those information, and we'll see in the time to come. Some of it will also make it public. So some of it was not very encouraging, and we thought it's the right time where we step up the compliance requirements. Again, as a regulator, we have been very practical. If you look at the quarterly compliance reports as well, we only look at the risk elements, and the reports ask for information where we see greater element of risk. So only from that perspective, we have been visiting some of the entities, checking on their infrastructure, manpower, and essentially on their compliance and risk management practices, I would say.
Thank you so much. I think that's very insightful, and obviously multiple takeaways. One of them being that the compliance report should be quite robust. Going one step back, in terms of the whole application process itself, and you said 180 funds, and you have seen most of them. What has been your experience on the application process, and what do you think fund managers should do, or people like us should do, to ensure that the approvals happen quickly and there are lesser and lesser roadblocks?
Sure. Thanks again for asking this. And let me again give you a small background for the audience. So if you look at our regulations, it's the fund management entity which needs to be first set up as a regulated entity within the ecosystem. The regulation requires the manager to be first be registered with us. And what we did initially as part of the regulations was those kind of venture capital schemes that would onboard very limited number of investors, and only those investors which would invest significant amount of money, we had accorded a green channel, which would mean that the fund can be filed with the authorities and can be immediately open up for subscription. Based on the initial experience of about 12 to 15 months, now we have opened this green channel for all alternative investment funds. So since the manager is regulated with us, we draw a lot of comfort from our regulatory powers and our regulatory ambit over the manager. So now what we have allowed is all the alternative investment funds which are filed with IFSC, they are under the green channel route. That practically means that you can open up for subscription immediately after filing it with the authority. Secondly, what I would also say is, even in terms of timelines for the manager, what we generally try to achieve is, if a completely filled in application is filed with us, we try to clear all applications within 45 days. That's the timeline we generally try to look at. Separately, as you would know, and as a regulator, we are not only looking inwards. We know the various processes which are involved for any entity. Once it decides to set up a fund in GIFT, it's not only IFSC's approval, right? There may be an approval of Reserve Bank of India, there may be an approval requirement of any other domestic regulator, including SEBI or an overseas regulator. Again, since this has been set up within the special economic zone, there is a SEZ approval which is also required. So over a period of time, what we have started doing is have a unified system for this approvals. We are still in the initial days of the single window system, which has been recently set up. So for the applicants, the idea is they'll file their application in a single window IT system. And through that system, the entire talking with different regulators, with different authorities would take place. So this may take some time to streamline and all of it, but at least the idea is to streamline this initial setup process, not just within the IFSC, but towards other regulators and other important market participants, I would say.
Thank you. And maybe my last question to you, because we are running a bit short of time, would be in terms of, the talent, and maybe that's a question for both of you. As you said, more and more applications we are seeing being accepted in GIFT. How do we ensure that the right talent is in place, and also that one is in terms of skill sets and also the quantitatively in terms of the availability? So is that anything either with IFSC is doing, and maybe the same question for you?
Sure. So it's a right question, and once we are growing, of course, there is a stress on the manpower requirement, the infrastructure requirement. What we are trying to do is and before even what we are trying to do, one thing which we also need to understand is the advantages of being in GIFT City, right? A lot of academic institutions, top academic institutions of India in and around GIFT. IICT, IIM Ahmedabad, NIFT, GNLU, the list goes on and on, right? So some of the finest universities are around us. So it's easy to work with them to get the right talent. Second, you pointed out initially during your conversation, right? Now in any case, we have 2 foreign universities which have come set up their base in GIFT City. Again, it's easy to work with them so that certain curriculum is designed. A continuous stream of manpower is offered to the institutions which are set up in GIFT. Separately, as a regulator, what we have recently done is we are working very closely with ICAI, ICSI, NISM, and few other academic institutions, so that specific programs are designed with respect to the various activities in GIFT City. Again, they are those institutions who can create greater awareness about GIFT City within their member and alumni community as well. And then we are also trying to bridge their gap with the associations. So we are trying to bring the likes of PMS Bazaar, IVCA, MFI, other people along with those academic institutions, so that the curriculum that they design meets the requirement of the industry and those do not remain as some theoretical construct. I would say probably Shekhar made few things.
Please.
So adding to what Pawan sir has already highlighted, see, whenever a new location starts, there's always a bit of hesitance from the audience's side to, shift there, relocate there, or even from awareness point of view that what kind of opportunities will be available to the talent ecosystem if they work in GIFT City. Now, these were the questions which, if you might have asked 3 years ago, probably we would have agreed, yeah. But now we have reached a stage, or we have crossed that journey, that we would also request the industry participants, to push for, or don't hesitate to be based out of GIFT City. See, it's not just a mere booking center. It's a city in itself, and it provides you everything. Be it your social life, it's a walk to work concept basically. And the idea or the vision with which we are working is that we want the decision making to be taken or based out of GIFT City. And this will really pick up not only from our side. Whatever we are doing has been already highlighted. But what we also expect is support from the industry players as well. And if that support doesn't come, so the talent gap or the talent question is not moving. So if the opportunity is there, so why do people hesitate to move in?
And maybe I'll take 30 seconds more to just add on and clarify that GIFT is not just a place to set up a fund to invest directly. There are multiple ways in which you can invest either inside India or outside India. For example, you can do a Cat 2 fund listed, you can do a Cat 3 for listed. You can have an offshore feeder investing into a GIFT fund. A GIFT fund can invest into a domestic AIF, whether it's Cat 2 or Cat 3, there's a complete flexibility over there. You can do only mutual funds or stressed assets, which has a complete pass-through from a tax point of view, both at the GIFT level and investor level. Outbound, 𝐶𝐭 mentioned, you can do through multiple structures. So don't look at GIFT just as a vehicle to invest as a plain vanilla. There are multiple structures which can be adopted depending on the profile of a fund manager and what his requirements are.